Hey, what is going on there YouTube? This is the Gaming Guy and today I am bringing to the full drop list for this week, which is week 17 of the fall winter season. I've been waiting for about 4 hours now for this drop list to be like quote complete. I think it's already been complete for quite a couple of hours, but I was just waiting for like the verification from Drops by Jay to make sure that is coming out. But I know the main thing that people are looking forward to this week, so am I obviously, is going to be the most obvious snow tube that is releasing. I am actually kidding. I know that most people are 50-50 on it and that they're actually looking forward to the box logo tee that is going to be releasing this week. But as an unreleased piece, we are getting a winter snow tube this week, which I find pretty cool. Sort of like if you've already got the sled, then you've got another thing to go with the sled, so you can get that. But the retail is meant to be about $110, which is quite a lot. But without further ado, let's just get into everything. Now obviously before we just go through the drop list, we're obviously just going to go into the winter tees, which is obviously why we've got the drop list for this week, because Supreme announced them and put all of the pictures out for them. So kicking off with the first winter tee, we've got the Aguila. If I pronounce that wrong, I apologise, but we've got the Aguila tee that is going to be coming out. We then have the Clowns tee, which is different to the tee that I was actually expecting for the Clowns tee, because during last year I was offered like a sticker that was an unreleased Clowns tee, so I was sort of expecting it to be that, but instead it is this piece, which, yeah, personally for me, it's not what I was expecting to see, and it's very different to that. I don't think it's anything terrible, but it's definitely not what people were expecting. We then have the Bridge tee, where I'm pretty sure that this is Sane and Smith, which are graffiti artists, or were graffiti artists. So yeah, I don't have a lot of in-depth knowledge about people, but that's as far as I go with this piece. We then have the Money, Power, Respect tee that's going to be coming out, which I think is quite cool. Just personally, I think it's quite a cool piece. Then we have the Bite tee that is going to be coming out as well. It is what it is. Obviously, we've got the bandana box logo tee that is going to be releasing, which, yeah, the main thing that people are going to be going for this week, I'm going to be going for this week as well. Also, there's rumoured to be like double the stock of the hoodies for these, so yeah, hopefully everyone's in for a good chance if that is like correct information, but we'll have to wait and see on that. We've then got the DVRK, or DVRK tee, which is literally Supreme Winter. That's why it says that. I actually think that's quite cool, and maybe in a specific colourway it might be actually a nice piece to have. Lastly, we've got the Eat Me tee with a couple of cats on it, and yeah, there are all of the tees. This is where we then see the different colourway in the box logo. So yeah, let's get onto the drop list anyway. Now unfortunately, Supreme Community is not updated to have all of the items on the list yet, so I am just going to personally pick those pieces out of their left to drop part, which we can do here, which we'll start off with because they'll probably anyway be towards the bottom of the list. So in this case, one of the pieces is going to be the ARK logo quilted flannel shirt. I think that the ARK logo on the back is quite cool. I think if it was on any other piece, people would like it a lot more, but with it being on this, it's not going to be too appreciated. We then have the stripe rib long sleeve knit polo that is going to be releasing as well. I'm not much of a polo person myself. I know that people probably aren't going to be a massive fan of this piece. I do think though that either the pink or black are quite nice, or like okay, but on this piece specifically, I just don't see them doing anything. We then have the Face Mask Polartec Camp Cap that is going to be releasing. Personally, I think this is a really decent piece. It just depends on its retail price, because obviously if you're taking into like the fact of it's almost being like a neck gaiter as well as a camp cap together being Polartec, that could have quite a high retail price. And then lastly, we have the contrast stripe beanie that is going to be releasing this week as well. Personally for me, I think that the blue colorway is really sick. I think that for a winter type color, it's amazing, and yeah, it'll probably be one of the colorways that will probably sell out in this piece, because personally I think that it is a great colorway. Now we can go through the full drop list as per norm, because those are the pieces that just haven't been added in yet. So kicking things off, we obviously have the box logo bandana tee. These are obviously going to be the mock-ups of them by Supreme Community, but these are all of the colorways. One of the colorways was replaced with white in the end. So yeah, we're going to have a red on white standard tee for that. Personally for me, if I got grey accidentally in the case of the hoodie, I think I'm going to go for grey again, this time with the tee. There'll be a poll on my channel as well for the colourway, so if you'd like to vote on that, it'll be on the community tab of my channel. And yeah, you can vote for the specific colourways, but personally, I think I'll be going for grey for the personal, because I've had a load of grey tees over the years, I just haven't really been rocking them, and I feel like I could finally rock a tee with it being a box logo. I think that'd be quite cool. We then have, like I said, the snow tube that is going to be releasing. Personally, if this released during the same time frame as when the sled dropped, or if it dropped instead of the sled, I will 100% have wanted to go for this over that. But now that it's come to this sort of time and I've already had a sled and things like that, at a retail of probably about £90, I don't know whether or not I'm going to be going for it, depending on how it actually looks, or whether they put like a promotional video out or something like that for it. I don't know. I think it would be a really cool piece to have for like the future, but I could see people massively bricking it like they do with quite a couple of pieces. Now we're just going to go through the tees. Personally, I don't know about this tee, so it does nothing for me, so I'm going to move ahead of it. The bite tee, I think it's quite funny, but again, there are a lot of tees that have had this same sort of or similar graphic to it, so it doesn't do a lot for me. The cat tee, I mean, it's just got cats on it. We had the dog one from last year or this year or at some point. I think it was during fall winter we had that. So with this, it doesn't really do a lot for me. We then have the bandana fleece neck gaiter that is going to be releasing. The last time they released neck gaiters, I believe again, was fall winter 18. They don't really do a ton, personally, for me. I don't really see a lot of people actually wearing them. I could see probably people where it's like cold, like a large majority of the time wearing them, but I don't see a ton of people, to be honest, actually rocking these. I see people more trying to resell them, which will probably end in them bricking, to be honest. With the next couple of tees, we then have the bridge tee. It doesn't do a ton for me, but I think that the concept of the image and then the writing on the back is quite cool. The Money Power Respect tee, I think it's quite cool as well. I think that it's just like a standout sort of graphic. And I am a fan of the winter tee. Depending on how the colourways look and whether they change this to do with it, or if the grey, like the heather grey, or if they release a heather grey, whether that matches and blends into it, will be like whether or not I actually go for a piece in the end. Moving on with the rest of the drop list, we have the Polartec half zip pullover that is going to be releasing. Personally, for me, I think that overall it is a cool piece to have a pullover releasing. Polartec might bring the retail up a little bit. However, the only downside to it is that I don't think it will like sell out across the board. I think possibly the camo colorway and maybe 2 other colorways will end up going, but apart from that, I don't think a lot of people are going to be copying this, just because the pure fact, like I've said before, that a lot of the pieces they have already released similar pieces of before, and because of that, some of them just don't hold their value if people are looking to resell. People looking to wear, I would definitely say just to go for it, to wear it, because it will probably keep you warm. The Clowns tee, again, I think I'm just a bit disappointed in because it's not what I was expecting. Moving on, we have the Ear Flap New Era that is going to be releasing. For me, I wouldn't be wearing this because I'm not really a camp cat person at the end of the day. I only have like 3 or 4 in general, and I hardly wear them at that. I do wear things that are like the whole ear flap for winter, but I'm just not a camp cat person, but I can definitely see this selling, to be honest. I've definitely said honest way too many times in this video. Next up, we have the checkerboard puffy jacket. For me, the colorways are a bit of a yikes. Like, personally, I think that the whole having the hood and everything on the jacket, amazing. Puffy jacket, amazing. But I think the whole checkerboard theme is just a bit awkward. I think that the red and black and the green colorway, or the green and blue, are decent, but at the end of the day, at the same time, they could have just gone for a bog standard color through and through. But people would have probably had the same feeling towards it, where they probably would have been disappointed because they probably would have said it's too simple. So there's no pleasing at the end of the day. But for me personally, I think that if they'd done different colorways or something, or not gone with this whole like checkerboard theme, it might have turned out a bit better. We then have a thermal zip-up hooded sweatshirt. I mean, it's a zip-up hoodie. It's plain and simple. It's got, I guess that's embroidered text, which it is, yeah. Embroidered text on it. Apart from that, it doesn't really have a lot going for it. Like I've said, they've got like 100 other pieces like this that are zip-up hoodies that you could probably get below retail. So yeah, for me, it's just nothing great. To match the zip-up, we then have the Polartec pant. Again, I think that the camo colorway and maybe a couple of others will go in this because people do like pants or pant type pieces when Supreme do release them. But looking at the like to dislike, people definitely just aren't a fan of them. And to sit at the bottom of the list is the checkerboard beanie. For me, the colorways, I remember they look like a humbug. If you don't know, a humbug is a type of sweet. And yeah, you can see the colorways here, and that is just literally what they remind me of. Humbugs. So that is going to cover this week's drop list. For the winter tees, I think, to be honest, across the board, they're average. Some are decent. If you know the meaning behind them, I think they add to them. But apart from that, some of them aren't great. Overall, I think the week is pretty decent because they are dropping a lot of pieces and just a lot of winter pieces in general. They've thrown in the snow tube, which I think just kicks things up a notch and makes people quite excited for that, like Christmas time and things like that, and snow. And obviously the bandana box logo is the highlight overall. But that is going to cover it from me. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know what you're going to cop. For me, I feel like the bandana box logo tee and maybe the winter tee or the snow tube, depending on how things go or depending how my bag's feeling. But yeah, apart from that, if you enjoyed, like, be much appreciated. Like I said, thank you for all the support over the last couple of days. I really do appreciate it. And we're literally now like 300 subs away from 10k, which is just mental. So hopefully we've got like 2 and a bit weeks. Hopefully we can do it in that amount of time. But yeah, other than that, I'll see you all next time. Peace.